It's Ben. Welcome to Sub Sunday. Okay, fixed. Hey, everybody, I'm going to get some more coffee. And we should be on Chess TV in about 4 minutes. Sorry I'm late. I had to make some 5 minutes with Ben. And then I had to insert the games. There's 13 games, unfortunately. Let me save them. Usually I forget to do that. That way if something bad happens, I still have all the games. Okay, I'm going to get more coffee, and then I'll be back, and we'll start looking at the games. I'm back. Hey, we have 550 subs. Let me see how Karen's doing. Karen played 3 days of poker at Cherokee, and she cashed in 3 tournaments. And she's playing one now. I should probably plug my phone in. Then it'll be charged instead of not. Ugh. Although plugging my phone in is hard. Mauler X subscribed. Thanks for supporting the stream. $5 from Matthew Williamson. Do you have a sentimental chessboard? And if so, any stories about it? No, I'm a grandmaster, not a chess set collector. I don't even know if I have a chessboard. But I do have stories. So you got me on that one. Let's see. I'm stuck at 350 to 375 ELO. Well, if you play a little worse, you'll be under 350. Then you won't be stuck there. You don't look okay, Ben. Are you sick? I look great. Not only that, we both have the name Ben. I always look fabulous. You probably need to get a new monitor or something. It's Grandmaster Gus. But I get that a lot. So Okay, let me get to this. Sub Sunday is the hardest stream to set up for, because I have to take a lot of games and edit out stuff and put stuff in. And so I do a lot of preparation for the stream instead of my usual nothing. It says I'm live on YouTube. Yay. Yeah, all of our streams are live on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. And now we're on Chess TV. Karen's still playing poker, so she won't be back till midnight at the earliest. She started playing at 10 a.m., and she's still in the tournament. This coffee is like really good. Nate Shadow the Mass subscribed. Hype train incoming. It says that, but that doesn't mean it's true. I was watching some golf today. The last, 2 or 3 weeks, I like TV less and less. So I can't find anything on TV that I even remotely want to watch. And I have a remote. So you would think that I would. You're a big golfer now? How big are you? About 6'2"? You have smart TV too? I don't know. My TV doesn't seem too smart. Rurf May 630 gifted a sub. Thanks for supporting the stream. Now we have a hype train. Whenever I'm about to stream, I tell myself to be nice to the chat and be friendly. And then after 1 second, I can't do it. I'm like Danny DeVito in Taxi when he's Louis De Palma. I don't understand what that means. Is Karen win or what? But yes. The vegan skeptic. Go hype train. Sit Bear decided, since he submitted a game last week and there was no Sub Sunday last week because it was the Super Bowl, he would just submit that game again for last week and then submit one for this week, submitting 2 games, which is against the rules. But he has chutzpah, so I let him do it. When does the game start? What game? What do you think your best game ever was? I don't know. I like my game with Fidel Corrales Jimenez from the St. Louis Open in 2014, I think. Did you watch Super Bowl? Well, I didn't stream because the Super Bowl was on. So, yes, I was watching it. Knight D3 is like my favorite move I've made, although in my game with Fidel, I played Rook takes D6, which is admittedly better. So I don't know. Who's your favorite comedian? I don't know, probably me. I cracked myself up. I don't like to do any game analysis on Sub Sunday when we do game analysis. I prefer to chat. This Super Bowl was not good to watch. Neither was the halftime show. Also, I thought the commercials were subpar compared to other years. All in all, it was a pretty bad Super Bowl. Which one would be the best one to watch? I can't answer questions like that. Anything that happened more than a minute ago, I've already forgotten. Man, Moobot's telling people to sub. Damn, Moobot's aggressive. So we need 200 bits in the next 30 seconds to get to level 2. Or a sub. Dying at level 1 is embarrassing. There we go. Jim Can Chess gifted a sub. Now we can die at level 2, and that's slightly less embarrassing. Thanks for supporting the stream, Jim, as you always do. Do you attend church? The only question is, which have I been to more, church or Church's Fried Chicken? Does anybody attend church? And my next question is, does anybody go to Church's Fried Chicken? When do you start the game analysis? The game analysis started about 10 minutes ago. Go, Hype Train. You can do it. You have the technology. LeBron decided he's not playing. Yay, we got 1 bit. Thanks for supporting the stream. It's Noah. He donates pieces and bits. Now we have 100 bits from Beads McGee. Did you have a backup plan in life if chess didn't work out? Chess worked out? Who's the worst person, Elon Musk or O.J. Simpson? I mean, one of them's dead. Yay, Noah gave 1 bit again. Yesterday, Noah gave 1 bit at some point and then said that was his last bit. And then after that, he kept giving 1 bit. So I don't know. Very suspicious. Hi, Ben. Where are you from? I'm from my mommy. If you go to Wikipedia and type in my name, you'll see a lot of stuff about me, like where I was born, my family, my chess accolades, who I've been married to, where I live, stuff I've accomplished. Terrible pictures of me. I spent my last money for a gift. Good, good. What's your biggest victory in chess? I don't know. What are you most proud of? I don't know. I've played a lot of chess. It all runs together. Can you complete the Rubik's Cube? I can if it's like 1 turn away. And then I can make that 1 turn if it's easy. My mom asked if I had a date for Valentine's Day. I said yes, February 14th. You know, the chats have both gone off the rails. There's a lot of inane questions being asked on both of them. But I'm trying to be nice. At what age did you beat your father at chess? I don't know. No, the hype train ended. Where do I send a game for analysis? Impossible. Type !analysis, and then maybe you can submit a game next week. $10? What? That's my biggest donation of my life. Thanks, Alex. Do you know how to mate with a knight and bishop? Yes, I've done that many times on stream, over 100. Also, one thing Dina Belankaya does is she makes videos of her playing against a GM where she has 5 minutes and the GM has 30 seconds, and she sets up king, bishop, and knight versus king and sees if the GM can do it with the 30 seconds on their clock. And if they can do it, then she wants to know how much time is left on their clock. So that way she knows which GMs can do it in 30 seconds and who's the quickest. And thus far, as of 3 weeks ago, I was the quickest. I had 11 seconds left on my clock. I am going to, drop a diss track. That's correct. My dad was not a GM. I must wait 10 minutes before sending my game. It's already too late to send your game this week. You can send your game next week. You have a week to figure out how to do it. You have to send it the day of the stream, and you should do it before 6 p.m. Eastern. Yay, Big Daddy gave a bit. Am I still banned on Discord? I hope so. I mean, I don't know. Yay, 1 bit. Thank you. Yay, 2 bits. Thanks, Beads McGee. Let's see, that's Karen. I busted in 88. She got 88th place. Thanks, Noah, for 3 bits. Are your parents as humorous as you are? They're not very humorous anymore. They both passed away. Yay, 1 bit. Thanks, precocious username. I'm asking Karen how much money she won in her last event, but she's not answering. Okay, well. I'm still banned. Good. More ban is better. That's what Daniel Negreanu said. Daniel Negreanu was complaining that the Super Bowl halftime show was terrible, and somebody responded with, more Drake is better. That's actually funny. What were your thoughts on the first listen of the new Drake album? I can't tell you one word that Drake has ever done in an album. If I saw Drake on the street, I wouldn't know it's him. But you gotta love the Drake. Love the Drake. Why don't you play against Danya? Good question. Okay, well, the chat's getting unreadable and confusing. So let's look at a game. First game is from Sit Bear, as is the second game. Let's see, I have to get rid of this. Okay. And I have to go back and see what Sit Bear wrote, because you guys write a lot of stuff. Okay. This tournament, every opponent kept sacrificing a piece for some sort of attack. This time, I somehow got away with it and started a 10-game undefeated streak. 10-plus game. Very suspicious. So, Sit Bear is white. This game was played in July of last year. Sit Bear is 1432. Although sometimes he's 1900 based on his submissions. And his opponent is 1695. Time control is game 90 with a 10-second delay. Sitbear almost always plays f4 unless he doesn't. But I don't think I've not seen him play f4. This is a typical Sitbear game. He plays f4, knight f3, e3, bishop e2, b3, bishop b2, etc. Yeah. JDW281 subscribed. Hooray! Yeah, I think d3 is not a good move. Probably white should castle or play c4. d3 weakens the e3 pawn. Anyway, it's equal. Yeah, because white played e3 and knight b to d2, the engine says black should sacrifice the bishop because the e3 pawn is indefensible. In fact, black did sacrifice the bishop. Double exclam. Typically, this wouldn't be enough compensation for a piece, but since e3 is hanging, and then the queen's attacked, and then f4 is attacked, and c2 is attacked, the engine actually prefers black here. Queen e1 is an excellent move. Knight takes e3. Now, problem is, if white saves his rook with rook f2, black has knight takes c2, still winning the exchange, and black would have 4 pawns and a rook for 2 pieces. That's a bit much. So Sitbear played the correct move, queen g3. Now, black played a strange move. The knight's very good on e3, so since white's threatening checkmate with queen g7, the engine recommends knight d4, which I probably wouldn't think of, or d4, which I would think of, because d4 kills the bishop, simultaneously defends the knight on the nice e3 square. Then black is threatening to either take the rook or take on c2. So I'd probably play d4, although the engine says knight d4 is a better move, but I probably wouldn't see that. But black played knight f5, so the knight's not on the beautiful e3 square anymore. So now white is okay. Then black played f6, never play f6. And now the engine actually prefers white because black played f6. Actually, the reasoning too. Strange. Okay, now Sitbear played a very unusual move, showing he has no fear. The engine wants him to play rook f2 to prevent knight e3 attacking his rook. Then probably white could follow up with king h1 and rook g1 and start put the heavy pieces on the h and g file. But instead, Sitbear directly prevented knight e3 by playing king f2. The engine doesn't like that. Because now, the isolated and weak f4 pawn could be attacked, and it's difficult and or impossible to defend. And in fact, that is what black did. The reason is the rook is being blocked by the king. So if the king was on g1 and black played bishop to d6, white could move away the knight and the rook would defend f4. But now you can't do that because your king's on f2. Now bishop d6, excuse me, and the engine says black is winning. So fortunes change often in this game. White played rook h1, threatening queen takes h7, and the engine doesn't care. The engine literally doesn't care, and if you don't believe me, I have a video of this position, it's hard to believe, with Hikaru crying that he doesn't care. And Hikaru's about as good as we have compared to an engine. That's pretty similar. So the engine plays bishop takes f4 and doesn't care about queen h7, king f7. In fact, for reasons I don't understand, the engine doesn't play queen h7. It plays queen h3. So I quit chess because that doesn't make any sense to me. Meepex subscribed. Go Meepex. Okay, so black played h6, which is also quite a strong move. Probably the move I would have played. Rook g1, getting white's pieces over to the king side. Bishop takes f4. Black has 4 pawns for a piece. White's king is a bit exposed. White's knight on d2 isn't very good. So black has a winning position according to the engine. Queen g2 was played. Now, queen g2 is a queen sacrifice, though it's possible it's an accidental sacrifice. So I'm going to guess that white made a mistake here and white wasn't sacrificing their queen on purpose. Black played bishop g3 check, and white has 2 legal moves, but king f1 allows knight e3 checkmate. So king f1 isn't good, so white has to give away his queen. Now we have a very unusual material disparity. White has 3 minor pieces for a queen and 4 pawns. It seems like in both chats, people are misbehaving. But I'm sort of busy, looking at the game, so I can't, I need like mods to just ban everybody. Try to behave yourselves. Okay, so black played king h7. That's very reasonable. Then white played d4. Okay, that's okay. Takes, bishop d3 check. King retreated, that's good. Knight takes d4. Black has 4 connected passed pawns, which is very unusual in the middle game. Usually in the middle game, white's kingside pawn structure isn't decimated like it is in the game. But since it's 3 pieces for a queen, the game's very complicated, so all the results are still possible, as you will see. But the engine is firmly of the opinion that black with 4 extra pawns is winning. Okay, it doesn't like rook f8, but it doesn't like it a little bit. It wants black to play e5 and sack the exchange. Always sack the exchange. And it really hates rook g8 because that traps black's king and gives white chances for a mating attack. It doesn't like rook h3. It wants to play knight f3 and get white's knight involved in the game. Keep hearing noises on Discord. It seems like I'm in Karen's Discord, even though it says I'm in my Discord. But it's obviously Karen's Discord. And Karen's popular, so people are texting her nonstop instead of not texting me ever. So I'm hearing Discord noises that I never hear. Although it does say it's my Discord. It's obviously Karen's. It wanted white to play knight f3 on the previous move. Now it doesn't. It's very dangerous for black to have rook on g8 because all kinds of sacrifices can happen on the king side, and black's king is going to be badly exposed. And after queen a6, it says white is now better. Rook f8's also double question mark. Now, for reasons I don't understand, bishop takes h6 is now winning, when previously bishop takes h6 was not winning. But it's winning now. And white played bishop takes h6. Now it says white's plus 1,000,000. It says black is completely lost. Notice black's queen and rook on the queen side aren't doing a good job defending the black king. Bishop d3 is an excellent move. Now, white is not only threatening the queen, but white's also threatening rook h7 check, king g8, rook g1 checkmate. So white's threatening the queen and checkmate. Black's play when black was up 4 pawns was too passive. Black never developed their queen rook, but their queen all the way over on a6. Never advanced the center pawns earlier with e5, which was recommended. Now white is crashing through on the king side. A brilliant game. Queen takes d3, stopping the checkmate. Now white's up a piece for 2 pawns, but white also has threats like rook h7 check, winning on b7, and more importantly, knight takes e6, winning everything. If black takes with the rook, then white can play knight takes e6 check. So king takes is forced. Now white can trade into a piece up endgame. White won without further fanfare, I assume. And black resigned. Very interesting game. Rarely in slow chess do I have games that are that interesting. Usually my games are 20-move draws. So. Bonarici says it was the best game of the stream. Ben, was it you and John Bartholomew that created Chessable? No, I had nothing to do with Chessable. Only recently have I started making Chessable courses. I was probably the last grandmaster to ever use or know what Chessable was. So John Bartholomew was first, and I was probably last. Sitbear subscribed. Rating of the winner. I announced the ratings before the game started. White's rating is 1432. Somehow his online rating is 1900. So I guess this is a problem a lot of people have, is they compare ratings that are not comparable, and they basically take the highest one and think that's their rating. So like you could have a Lichess Blitz rating, and you could have a Lichess Bullet rating, you could have a chess.com Blitz and Bullet rating, you could have a chess.com Rapid rating. The funniest one is the chess.com Puzzle rating, and then you could have a USCF rating, you could have a FIDE rating. And a lot of times the ratings are several hundred points difference. So somebody who's 1400 USCF is 1900 on chess.com, and their chess.com puzzle rating is 3000. Yodi Man subscribe, thank you. Okay, so that was an interesting game. Next game is also from Sit Bear. I've lost this week. How does one reach 1500 and then trade into an obviously lost king and pawn ending? The answer, he was a little kid. So white is NN, although we know he's a little kid. And black is Sit Bear. This was played at the same tournament later on. It's still game 90, delay 10. And white is rated 1562. Black is rated 1243. Okay, so since Sit Bear is here, he can answer the question how in round 4 he was rated 1432, and in round 5 he's rated 1243. I must be an amateur sleuth. Yeah, I think he typed the wrong rating in. I think he's dyslexic, and he took 1432 and mixed up the numbers and got 1243. Okay, so Sit Bear is black, and he's paired up to his opponent. Usually, when you're paired up, it's your opponent. And this was played the very next round, supposedly. Knight c3 is not really a move that a grandmaster would play. Typically, white either takes the knight on f6 or plays bishop to d3. Knight c3 is a bit passive. Bishop e2 is a bit passive also. Not the most aggressive square for white's bishop. So in this position, like a lot of Sicilians, when the bishop's on e3, black should hasten to play knight g4. Because in this instance, white can't move the bishop away because the bishop is defending the d4 pawn. So knight g4 would give black the two bishops, and then black would have f6 square available for his bishop later, which is a pretty nice square. So Engine prefers black after knight g4. And there's a lot of openings in chess, but especially the Sicilian, which this is not, where white plays bishop e3 and black would like to play knight g4 if possible, which is possible here. He takes d4 is a good alternative. And in this position, the Engine wants to play knight e5, because Engine likes two bishops and wants to take the bishop. Knight takes d4 is playable. This position's about equal. Rook a d1 is very risky because rook's opposite the queen here, so black is possibly able to have some kind of tactical tricks. So it's a risky move. Black didn't punish white. Engine prefers black after e5, attacking the bishop. When the bishop moves away, black can move their bishop with a discovered attack on the queen. Bishop c6 is okay. This position slightly better for black. Very slightly. Ooh, f4 is a very bad positional move. White should now strive to play f4 to f2. So like if I was white here, after playing f4, I would write a letter to the USCF and FIDE and send it express to get there in like less than 30 minutes and ask that the rules of chess be changed so I could move my pawn back to f2. Then if FIDE and USCF agree, I could show the director during the game, and the director should allow me to play f4 to f2. Dankel16 subscribed. Yay. Yay, 48 months. Well, I think you have to grease the wheels a little. So probably you would have to bribe the USCF and FIDE. Those kind of people accept bribes. So I'm pretty sure you could do it. Okay, so f4 is a very poor move. Knight d5. Engine doesn't like knight d5, but knight d5 is fine. Bishop f8 is better because always play bishop f8. But they're about the same. Knight takes d5 is a poor move. Now black has a big advantage because white's pawns are all weak. It's not clear which pawn black's going to take, but black has chances to take all of them. Whereas black's pawns are very safe. The engine actually says black is winning now. And probably that's because white's pawn is on f4, opening up the king on the diagonal and the 7th rank. If white's pawn was on f2, probably black would be slightly better. But now it thinks black is winning. White's king is exposed, and white's pawns are all weak. And you can see that C pawn is attacked, and the A pawn is attacked, and the white king is open on the diagonal. The white king is open on the 7th rank. Black's position is perfectly cromulent. And black's up a pawn, and the rest is technique. You can't play a passive move like rook e2 when you're down a pawn. White has to get counterplay. Yeah, unfortunately, since black is going to check on the back rank, white should play h3, king h2, and then white can proceed to try to get counterplay. White doesn't want to play king f2 and start walking the king up the board like Petrosian Pachman. Although white does want to walk the king up the board like short Timon. Okay, good chats. Moving on up to the king's side. Ooh, queen d3. That's the kind of move I try to get my students to not play. So, a lot of bad chess teachers, which is basically 90% of them, tell you to trade when you're ahead. They heard somebody else say it, so then they repeat it, always repeat. That's a very silly rule. Fanston is rating with a party of 3. Thanks for the raid. I hope you had a good stream. And basically, the rule is never trade. So you would never play queen d3 because that's trading. Then the more important rule in this particular position regards trading queens. And you don't want to trade queens when you have the safer king. It's obvious that black has the safer king. Black's king is completely safe, and white played f4, king f2. Frankly, ridiculous. And in the queen and rook ending, white's king is always going to be exposed. The rook ending, white's king is fine, and white has drawing chances. Of course, the problem that I have with my students is when I tell them never to trade and don't trade queens when you have a safer king, is they heard somebody say in their life, you should trade when you're ahead, and they don't care what you say. So as long as somebody crazy says something, they do that the rest of their life, instead of what a strong grandmaster is telling them. I'm not strong at chess, but physically, I'm probably stronger than them. Well, not anymore, but I used to be. Okay, so queen d3, the engine doesn't like it. It thinks that white has drawing chances in the rook ending by trading and playing f5. And that's what white did. Now, the engine isn't satisfied that black is winning anymore because white's king is perfectly safe now and white has counterplay. So I can't stress enough how poor decision queen d3 was, but it's not one that people are going to change. They just do what they're told, and when they're told better information, they don't listen. Okay, rook d6. Reasonable move. Takes. Rook takes. And then in this position, I assume white traded rooks based on what Sitbear wrote before the game. Okay, and that is also a very silly move. And white has excellent drawing chances by playing rook d2. It's not easy to win this endgame. It's not even clear that it is winning. The engine evaluation is black is ahead 0.6. So I don't know if that's winning or not. If two super grandmasters were playing, sometimes black would win, sometimes it would be a draw. However, rook takes rook is quite a poor move that gives black a passed pawn and an easily winning king and pawn endgame. And that's a worse strategical decision that white made than when black traded queens. That's why white's name is NN. Okay, and then black should win this without difficulty with the extra e-pawn. You couldn't make me play king e4 here. I would never move my king off of e5, and if I had no other legal move, I would pass and leave my king on e5. You couldn't get me to play king e4. But okay, white's going to play king e4 eventually, because white's going to run out of moves. But you'd have to make me run out of moves first. And white resigned here. The only way to play for white is king e5, and then this doesn't have much chance. So Sitbear wins. Go Sitbear. Yeah, I talked about their ratings for about a minute before the game because Sitbear typoed his own rating. And I questioned him about that. NN's rating with white is 1,500 something and black's rating is 1,400 something. Also, the previous game, I discussed the players' ratings, and then during the game or after the game, somebody said, what were their ratings? Now, it's possible that people showed up after I started looking at the game and were interested in their ratings. What should the move have been instead of queen d3? Well, if I was black, I would make Luft. So the only question I would have is whether I play g6 or h6. I wouldn't consider any other move. Definitely wouldn't consider queen d3. That's beyond... I mean, queen d3 is almost as bad as going into the king and pawn ending. It's not, but it's close. H6 is probably what I would play. I would be worried after g6 that I would have weak dark squares. And after h6, my queen is defending the diagonal, so there's no perpetual checks. But definitely I want to make Luft, and then I want to activate my rook and my queen, and put pressure on white's king, and so forth. And eventually, black will prosper. The queen and pawn endings with pawns on both sides should be winning with white's exposed king and the threat of going into a king and pawn ending. The queen and rook ending is winning because black has a safer king and an extra pawn. The rook ending has excellent drawing chances for white, but then white went into the king and pawn ending, which was losing. Man, my cold drink is too warm and my warm drink is too cold. How can you send your games? Impossible. Yeah, you need to sub through Twitch, and then you need to use Discord. You need to do it before the stream starts. I would give up. Why isn't black resigning? That is a good question. It's one of the best questions I've been asked. Okay, now we'll take a break because I'm tired. Hi, Ben. When you see Karen, tell her Move said hi. Yeah, she should be home about midnight. She's driving back now from Cherokee. It was a successful trip. She played poker for 3 days in tournaments, and she cashed in 3 tournaments. It's pretty good. Good percentage. But she'll probably talk about that on her streams, so I won't talk about it too much. Give her a chance to talk about it. Do they poker camps like chess camps? Do they? Anything where people can charge a fee, that exists. We'll take about a 30-minute break so I can have some water. I can answer any questions in the chat as long as they're not too silly. If they're 3 silly, that's about the right amount of silly. I'm writing a course on the Albin counter gambit, which comes out in June, but it's from black's point of view. So my advice for white is give up. What is the benefit of Jobava's London? I think people enjoy saying they play the Jobava London. I think that's the main benefit of playing it, is people like to say that they play it. Who is your favorite GM to play against? I guess Ginger GM. Also, as you all know, and by all of you I mean about 10% of you, 2 days ago, Ginger GM's cat passed away. And Ginger GM's cat had its own Twitter page. I think his name was Charlie, but I'm not sure. Anyway, R.I.P. Ginger GM's cat. That's the problem with pets, is they pass away at some point. Yeah, Donald Trump pardoning Ginger GM would be good. I agree with that. I'm going to get on that. Who are the chess players you are friends with? I have very few chess players that I'm friends with. Most other chess players don't like me, so I don't really text or call with anybody who plays chess. My daughter texts me sometimes if I text her first. Am I friends with Eric Rosen? I mean, we're acquaintances. We speak at chess tournaments. Outside of chess tournaments, we don't have any contact. I know who he is and he knows who I am. Sometimes we raid each other. It's Karen. It's Karen. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. How did you do in the tournament? Like what? How much money did you win? Ooh, that's good. Uh huh. Yeah, you did good. Is everything okay? Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'll call you when the stream is over. All right. Bye. Yeah, so she had a profitable weekend, so that was good. Good to get so many cashes, play so long. Okay, let's go to the next game. Nate Shadow the Meh. I beat an anonymous national master on Lee Chess. He randomly blundered a rook, but I'll still take it. Okay. It's a 5-minute game. Nate Shadow the Meh, his Lee Chess rating is 2152. His opponent's Lee Chess rating, who's a national master, is 2401. I've never thought about playing poker. Interesting. Okay, so white is our hero. Not the most exciting game. Ooh, D5's exciting. Now it's the most exciting game. The engine says black is slightly better. It doesn't really like that white is playing this knight maneuver before castling. White's king is stuck in the center. Now it says it's equal. Doesn't like that move. Takes the tension away from the center. Takes away from the strength of the bishop on b7, which was putting pressure on the center. The center's blocked. Bishop on b7 doesn't have much to do. So now the engine very slightly prefers white. Doesn't like that move. Rook a d1 doesn't really make any sense. It's not where you want the rook. White should be playing a4, putting pressure on b5. The rook on a1 is well placed when white plays a4. Yeah, knight engine hates knight b8. Black wants to play c5 and knight d7 and so on. But the engine doesn't like it. Wants white to play h4, h5 because white's an engine. That's how engines play chess. Knight h2 is also reasonable. It's a 5-minute game, so I'm not going to complain about the ferociousness of the moves. The engine prefers white. Nobody's blundered anything yet. It doesn't like that move at all. Now it says black's better. And it really hates that move. It wants to not play that because now white can take on e5, which gets rid of the defense of the f7 pawn. Then white can play bishop b3, and white has tremendous pressure against black's king side. So it really dislikes the move knight e5. Yeah, g5 isn't a good square for the rook. It's leaving this pawn unprotected. Okay, so black's down a pawn, but black has two bishops. h4 is an excellent move, taking advantage of the badly placed rook on g5. So it seems like since this was a 5-minute game that black forgot the rook was attacked. That's the only thing I can gather. Because black gave up their rook. So that's not a good move. Now white's up a rook. You're paying top dollar for that analysis. I'm trying to figure out why black did that. I think when black played queen d4 check, he just forgot his rook was attacked because it was a couple of moves ago. So can't remember that far. That move allows white a pretty mate. Bishop takes g6 is actually mate in 3 now. Though it's unnecessary because white's up a rook. But it's a cute way to finish the game. And white did play bishop takes g6. Now it's mate in 2 no matter what black does. Knife f5 mate. Not only is it mate, but it forks the king and queen. I'm probably FM strength now. I was probably IM strength 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, then CM level. Man, the truth hurts. Nice mate winning the queen. And also it's knife F5. That's one of our highest level emotes. It's either level 2 or 3. So even if you're a sub to the channel, it's not clear you can put the knife F5 emote because that's tier 2 or 3. Very few people can do that. My FIDE is well over 2,400. No, my FIDE is like 2,380-ish. What does National Master title means in US? It means your US rating is 2,200 or above, or it used to be. Why did you lose strength? Old and bad. When chess players get older, they get much weaker. That usually they retire because they don't play good anymore. And if somebody could donate 47 subs, that would help out the channel tremendously. Then we would be at 600, as Tensor Extension has pointed out. Do you play in senior tournaments? I did play in a senior tournament once. I didn't do well. Is FIDE a country? What? Which opening is the best? That's up for you and your wife to decide. Oh, you mean chess opening. Whatever one you like. Do you play in your senior home? What? I don't understand. FIDE is north of Canada. Man, truth hurts. Sometimes the chats go off the rails. What do you think of the Dutch defense? It's a good defense. It's underrated. It's maligned a lot by a lot of people. A lot of people are saying. Knife F5 emote is still there, but it's either tier 2 or 3. So if you're not tier 2 or 3, you can't find it. But Karen's tier 2 or 3, so I can go on Karen's account and I can do it. Let's see, Knife F5. I have to find it. Let's see, the tooth hurts. The emotes are too small. I can't see them. Okay, that's not it. That's not it. I can't oh, there it is. I gave up looking for it and then I found it after I gave up. There's the Knife F5. Do you take the E pawn or the D pawn? You take the E pawn. But I will add that game in the course that I'm writing currently. How much extra material would you have to start with to beat Magnus in a classical chess game every time? I don't know. Probably a queen would do it. I think if he spotted me a queen, he would resign on move 1. So then I guess I would win every time. It's going well. What other useful insights do students often refuse to listen to? Well, all of them. I mean, if I was my student, I wouldn't listen to me either. Look at my results. I'd probably get a higher rated teacher, which is basically anybody. Do you like Dash as chess commentator? What? You mean like Mrs. Dash the Spice? Is Daniel Naroditsky a snob? He seems like a snob. He is not a snob. He's the opposite of a snob. I sent you a friend request. You accepted, then deleted me. What? If I accepted a friend request, and then somebody paid me to delete that person, whatever that means, I wouldn't be able to do it. I can barely accept a friend request. Greetings from Holy See. Any opinions on Chess 960? I think the important thing is I'm asked the same question 3 or 4 times every stream my whole life. Somebody should now ask if I've ever played Magnus, who's the best player I've ever played, and am I going to play OTB chess again? Who's the best player I ever beat? Do you think Gukesh will win the next world championship? Do you think Magnus is going to play for the world championship again? Do you think Hans and Hikaru will become world champion? Do you think Hans cheated against Magnus? I need to answer these questions 3 or 4 times every stream. Yeah, Ben, will Levy become a GM? No politics today. Boo politics. I mean, boo Republicans. Boo Radley. Yeah, what happened to Lawrence Trent? He said he was going to become a GM and he was going to play in GM norm tournaments, and then he disappeared. Like, I don't mean that he's not getting GM norms. I mean, he disappeared. Like, I don't see him on the internet anymore. Like, Levy didn't disappear. Levy just doesn't get GM norms or play in GM norm tournaments. But Levy's still around. I see Levy make videos, interview people. What happened to Lawrence Trent? He commentated the last London Chess Classic with Svidler. What? When was the last London Chess Classic? Hello, GM Ben. How many OTB games to win for an official title? Would someone like to help me answer that question? Do you offer private coaching? Unfortunately. Okay, let's look at another game. Bonarici versus Crackhead. I mean, Crackus. I assume that's short for Crackhead. Ben was playing good that day, so I had to be happy with second place. This was in 5-minute game on chess.com. Bonarici was 1830 and his opponent was 2269. And the game was played, it says 2 days ago on Valentine's Day. Our hero, Bonarici, is white. Knight d7 is an unusual move, but it's not terrible. Queen a5 is an unusual move. Now we've transposed into a well-known opening, the Cambridge Springs, very popular in the 1920s. It sort of lost its popularity recently. I'm not sure why. People were playing it in the 80s and 90s. Now nobody plays it. Typically, white plays either CD or knight d2. Okay, that move isn't... I don't know that move. It's not bad. It's okay. Yeah, black is equalized pretty easily now with the two bishops. Ooh, f5, giving black the worst position. Yeah, now black's bishop on c8 is even worse than it was before, and that's not even possible. Now white has a clear advantage. White doesn't have the dark squared bishop trapped behind the pawns. Black's knight can easily be kicked out of e4 with a later f3. And then white can play e4, busting up the center. Knight f6 isn't good. Black should take one of the knights. Loses a tempo. F takes e4 is a mistake. Black should take with the d pawn, which is probably not a move I would consider. But the idea is, after de, fe, you can play knight g4. And you have an attack on h2, and black is also threatening knight e3, forking the queen and rook. After this, it says that white has a big advantage. Now it says black should play e5, which looks crazy. That also looks quite bad. And that just loses. White's threatening knight takes bishop, winning a bishop. White's also threatening knight takes knight check, and the queen and bishop make a battery against h7. The only good move for black is queen c7, defending the bishop. And in the case of knight takes knight, black can play gf, the queen on c7 defends h7. In a blitz game, queen c7 is impossible to see that it defends the bishop and defends the h-pawn. So black's move is understandable. Now white is completely winning. Yeah, here white should play queen g6. And then the game's over. Now in this position, black should play bishop takes h2 check with the idea of king takes h2, queen c7 check, winning the bishop on h7. And then white still has a winning position. White's knight has the d6 square. White has open h and g file to black's king. Black's bishop is bad. It's still best. Instead, black played bishop d7. Once again, queen g6 is crushing. And it was played. And black played a very unusual defense in this position. Rook f7, and Bonarici took it. An excellent game by Bonarici. Although, after rook f7, I think black should legally change his name to Crackhead. Yeah, I'm accepting students. Contact Karen or me by email, and we'll get back to you. The more you pay, the more you learn. I charge a lot, but we don't talk about how much I charge on the stream. That's private emails. But basically, if you have to ask how much I charge, then you can't afford it. Thanks for the raid a week ago. My chair was feeling extremely lonely. Yeah, I remember that. I raided you and you weren't there. That happens a lot when I raid people. They leave before I raid them. I teach whatever you want me to teach you as long as you pay me. Welcome to Smoothly. Give a shout out to Smoothly. Yeah, somebody give Smoothly a sub so he doesn't have to watch ads. $2,000 viewers. What else? Yay, Rurf May gifted a sub to Smoothly. You are the best. Okay, I guess we have to look at another game, unfortunately. It says white versus black and there's no moves. Well, that means one of the games was inputted wrong. Let me try again. I'll have to skip that game. There's a lot of mistakes in the PGNs and I have to fix them. Sometimes I don't fix them correctly. Let's see. My opponent was French, so before making my last move, I sent, oh mon dieu, I was black, and this is 10-minute rapid. Black is rated 1427, white's rated 1388, and it's a 10-minute game on chess.com. Game was played today. And black is our hero. Black is French. I'm sorry, white is French, and white's playing the London. I thought London was in England. Maybe it's in France. London, France. Okay, so white is slightly better, but nothing serious. So far, so good. No blunders. Pretty good for a 10-minute game, considering the ratings of the players. Go Julie London. Engine doesn't like knight f3, I guess because that cedes the e4 square. So Engine prefers b3, fighting for the queen side. Now, black is supposedly supposed to be better after knight e4. Dominating the e4 square. a3 is also a good move. The engine says white's losing after taking on a3 because white has very weak pawns on c3 and a2. Black's going to take with the rook, then play knight e4, attacking the c pawn, and then triple on the a file, attacking the a pawn, and white's position is very passive. So it doesn't like taking on a3. Now it says black is winning. White has too many weaknesses. g4, god damn. Yeah, g4 is not a good move. That just weakens the white king. Queen c1 hangs the bishop on e2. But white was French, so he had to always retreat. But instead, could have played rook b2 or queen d1, which is also a retreat. So it's hard to believe that white wasn't familiar with the proper way of retreating, having it being in his heritage and all. That's a pretty bad blunder, giving up your bishop like that when it was totally unnecessary. All right, black's just a piece up. 2 bishops against a knight. Never play f6. Black has a discovered attack against the white queen, which I'm sure white saw. Man, the truth hurts. This would be a good time to resign. Queen h5 is also good. Checkmate. That's a cool checkmate. Didn't realize chess was that easy. Black played a5, a4, a3, put his rook down on the a file, took a piece on e2, kept his rook on a2, and won the game. And chess is easy. Just push your a pawn, then you infiltrate with your rook. Then he infiltrated with his rook on the other side of the board. Man, I guess computers are right. What's funny is, this position, queen e8 is almost mate. But black plays rook f8, discovered check, winning the queen. So, like, rook takes rook, check wins, but if it wasn't check, queen e8 would be mate. So, white almost had a threat at the end of the game, but not quite. There is a London, France. Good, good. Do you miss pre-computer era of chess? Not really. What would be the fastest way to tilt you in a game? These questions are shallow and pedantic. Thanks, Smoothly. Welcome to the stream. What was your reaction to Gary losing to Deep Blue? Man, that happened like 30 years ago. I can't remember. I can't remember what my reaction was 5 minutes ago looking at the game. Did you ever get your chance against Shaq and Mercy? No, I've never met Shaq. But he would win at Mercy now. Also, he would have won before. Smoothly gave 100 bits. Thanks for supporting the stream. I don't understand why I'm on Karen's Discord. Probably because she was on Discord and she didn't sign out and I didn't sign in. But it does say it's me. It says GM Benjamin Feingold. Oh, that's because I'm on my server. Oh, okay. That's why it thinks it's me. Okay, next game from Jim. Hi, Ben. This is a simul game I played in October 1995 against the man who was the 10th world chess champion, Boris Spassky. I played on longer than I should have, but hey, how often do you get a chance to play a world champion? Definitely a thrill for me. I still have his autographed score sheet. So Spassky is white and Jim is black. Black's rating at the time, 1995, was 1409. And Boris Spassky's still alive. He's 88 years old. I think Spassky's the oldest living grandmaster, but I'm not sure. I know of older grandmasters that passed away recently, like Krogius and Averbach. They were older than Spassky, but they're no longer alive. So I don't know of a GM that's older than Spassky, but it's possible. Averbach was way older than Spassky. He was over 100. Rawr. I think Averbach is the only grandmaster to live to 100. Okay, Spassky is white and our hero is black. Still theory. So far, pretty good game. No mistakes. The engine says Queen B6 is double question mark and loses the game immediately. According to the engine, knight takes e5 is equal. Now, engine says queen f2 wins because you attack the c pawn. And bishop takes c5 is completely crushing, of course. Spassky didn't play queen f2. He played second best move, which also gives white close to winning position. But queen f2 was better. Played knight e4. And this lets black either take on e5 or play knight d4. The engine likes white a lot in both instances. Queen b6 was a poor choice. Knight takes e5 was the best move. And then the engine doesn't like c3 at all. It says either bishop takes c5 or knight takes e5 gives white a healthy advantage. Now it says white is slightly better. Recommends that black retreat with knight d7 defending the c-pawn. Instead, black played an unusual choice, allowing bishop takes c5 to attack the queen and the rook by playing knight f5, which indicates to me that it's possible Jim didn't see bishop takes c5, because can't allow bishop takes c5. Forks stuff. Now white's up in exchange, and white has a kingside attack by continuing with g4, which he actually did. He played d4 and then g4, and white has an initiative against black's king on f8, and white is up the exchange for no pawns. The engine says white's up 3.7. Wait, now the engine plays rook takes f4 check, rook takes f7 check, which isn't really a rook sacrifice, because if black takes, queen f4 check wins the rook on b8. But in a simul, I wouldn't expect a lot of people to play rook takes f7 check when banal moves win. So played knight g5, which is fine. Everything's about +5. King g8, knight takes f7. Bishop e4 is good. Always repeat, go Spassky. So the idea is, if black takes the knight on f7, white takes the knight on h4. But can't take the knight on h4 now because it's defended. Okay, that's what happened. Thanks, Welch's Grape Juice, for subscribing. Thanks for supporting the stream. And the truth hurts. And black resigned. Yeah, Spassky played quite well that game. Now, if Spassky is 88, which I think he is, this game was played 30 years ago, which is what my math is telling me, that he was approximately 58 when this game was played. So about 25 years past his prime, but still grandmaster strength at that age. Duckstein is a grandmaster from Austria? I thought maybe he was an IM. Bisgeier seems old. Bisgeier died like 30 years ago. And he was always old. Who died 3 days after turning 99? Who died 3 days after turning 99? Yeah, Bisgeier died about 30 years ago. So he would be really old if he was alive now. Yeah, I didn't know Duckstein was alive. Also, I'm pronouncing his name wrong. Also, we need 45 subs to get to 600. I wasn't really interested in getting the GM title. I was GM strength since I was in my late 20s. I just didn't play in GM norm tournaments. They were expensive. Is Spassky the oldest living world champion? Definitely. That's not particularly close. I think Karpov is next at 70. Or he's 74, I guess. He was born in 51. Karpov's 73. I forgot when Karpov's birthday was. But he hasn't had his birthday yet, so he's 73. How did you make your money before chess? I was a child living with my parents, so I didn't have to make money. Sting is still alive. Go Sting. I like these streams because they last the right amount of time for me to charge my phone. Yeah, LeBron James is pretty old. Michael Jordan is 62. I didn't know how old Michael Jordan was. What are the odds you'll get all 12 games today? 2% is the likelihood I'm going to look at another game. Chances I'll get to all the games are 0%. 2% is me looking at another game. It's Kingpin. I've looked at enough games today. It's time to read the chat. Ronaldo is also 40. Ronaldo's 40? Really? Who's older, Ronaldo or Messi? And why? Messi 37, Ronaldo 40. Ronaldo is older and better. How often do you hold back jokes because they might go over people's heads? Never. But I hold back jokes if, I can't tell them on the stream. Maradonis. It's a cool name. Brazil Ronaldo was better. I hear jokes every day on MSNBC. I didn't know people watched MSNBC for comedy. Might be a good source of comedy, I don't know. Will the real Ronaldo please stand up? So for those of you who weren't here yesterday or forgot, my next chess tournament over the board is the Spring Charlotte Open, or the Charlotte Spring Open, or the Spring Open, March 28th to 30th in Charlotte. And there's a good chance that my stepson Archer will also play in the tournament. No, I'm not going to play in the Chicago Open. Spelled come wrong, spelled retirement wrong. Terrible. Didn't capitalize Ben. Hello, the Mad Griffin. You spelled apologize the British way. New Mexico is no more. Yeah, did they change the name of New Mexico to New America? I thought you left FIDE or something a while back. 50% right. I think chess commentators are pretty good. Man, the vegan skeptic, you ask a question like every minute. Are you 4 years old? I've never seen anybody ask so many questions. How could you spell skeptic right if you were 4? They're all chat GTP questions, that's why. Freedom melts instead of quesadillas. Oh, man, freedom melt sounds good if it was vegan. That sounds delicious. You can't leave FIDE. FIDE has countries as members. I left the U.S. Chess Federation. Then I came back about a year ago, and I played in a tournament 2 months ago. Did Alejandro Ramirez get declared guilty? Declared by who? Are you better than GM Naroditsky? I'm better at living in my home than he is. That's about it. How do you prioritize sacking the exchange, retreating, and repeating? Just make sure you always do all of them. Boy, same questions every stream. How many vegan GMs are there? How would I know? How long have you been a GM? A vegan? I don't know. A few years. 6 or 7 years. Boy, the chats are just terrible. Okay, so the games I didn't look at, I'll look at on another stream. I don't know when, don't know why, but at some point. But we got to about half of them. That's pretty good. Let's see. Naroditsky, Nemsko's playing poker. Rosen, who may or may not be my friend. Yeah, I'll raid Rosen. I raid Naroditsky more than Rosen. All right, guys. I'll see you Tuesday. I'm probably streaming twice on Tuesday. Bye. Thanks for supporting.